Hey everyone, I'm back again to bring you some more mildly interesting Halo facts, but this time we're going to dive into the world of Halo 3. All the useless information I'll share today are things I've personally discovered over the last 18 years of playing Halo 3. There's a good chance you might know some of these already, but hopefully you'll learn something new. Let's begin. First up, did you know that fish are secretly your allies? While mucking around in Sierra 117, I noticed that my radar lit up with friendly yellow dots. Upon closer inspection, it turns out the fish in the river are actually our friends. I used the Acrophobia skull to get a better view, and after firing some shots, one by one, the yellow dots faded from the radar. After backtracking, I noticed that there were more fish friends in the Banshee section. Now the fish are pretty chill. If you anger the Marines and make them your enemies, the fish do not care. They are loyal allies to the end and they'll never attack you. I'm not sure if this is helpful in any way, but I thought it was cool. I was curious to see if it was possible to save Johnson before getting captured. It's normally impossible to see the Brute Chieftain without the cutscene starting. But with the help of the Acro Skull, I was able to get to a good sniping spot. Sadly, the Chieftain is immune to our sniper rounds. But could we blast him into the water? With some well-placed grenades, I slowly knocked him closer and closer to the edge. And with one last push, he fell down. So what happens now? Well, the cutscene plays as normal.
See how they bait their trap?
But after a few frames of walking, the Chieftain is teleported to the abyss. On closer inspection, the game knows that his body is in the water, so it seems to very quickly teleport him back where he belongs, killing him a second time. Did you know that Pelicans actually have pilots? Being the nosy person I am, I was curious if there was anything behind the window of the Pelican.
What you need, Jake?
I could hear a Marine talking to me, but I wasn't convinced. With some precise camera angles in theatre, I was surprised to see that there were two Marines sitting inside. And they can very clearly see me through the one-way glass. I love the concern on this Marine's face as a half-ton cyborg punches the roof of his Pelican. Crow's Nest is the only level in this game where you can start with no weapons, but there is also a skull in the very first room. So, by picking up the skull and trying to shoot, the skull is thrown away and picked up very quickly. Not only does this look incredibly cool, the skull makes different noises depending on what it hits. Some objects make no noise, while others open portals to different dimensions. In the section with the jetpack boys, after heading upstairs, I noticed there is a Brute who is super chill. He's very passive and he doesn't try to attack you. He spawns in with the other jetpack boys, but he's content just to hang out by himself. Now, he will eventually try to jetpack down, and once he touches the ground, his AI kicks in and he becomes hostile again. But for a brief few moments, we had a beautiful friendship. Heading onto Savo Highway, have you ever noticed this power switch at the start of the level? It is just sitting on the wall, waiting to be pressed. The sergeant instructs the Marines to turn on the power. But the Marine just awkwardly stares at the wall and then moves on. But when we approach the switch, it activates. I can't see it doing anything in the level, and I'm not sure if this was just a piece of content they cut out from the final game. But I thought it was mildly interesting. Have you met Bob the Builder? Now, as far as I'm aware, it's not possible to make any human ally hold the gravity hammer. But I think I found one exception. In the storm, there are several humans wearing hard hats that are under attack from brutes. Normally, they act like Marines, but you cannot hand them any special weapons like swords or hammers. But if you manage to kill the Chieftain, grab the hammer, and approach them just before they leave the building, there is a narrow window where you can give them the hammer. I don't think there's any animation programmed for this, so the hammer magically just appears in their hand. And I found the voice lines made it even funnier.
I wish I could do something. I don't know how to fight.
Now I think this works with any of the hard hat boys, but this particular building was the only place where I could get them to grab the hammer. All the way back in 2007, when I played Halo 3 for the first time, I remember finding this weird looking helmet in this one section of Floodgate. It looked like a cool elite helmet that I could unlock later on, but it turns out it's just a glitch where the combat helmet and the assault helmet are fused together. So sadly, we can never equip it. Welcome back to the Ark. Early in the level, there's a longsword ship that crash lands on the ground. If you approach the wreckage, there are several minutes of combat dialogue of both Marines and the elite shipmaster fighting in space.
Negative. Protect the Pelicans.
But I was curious, and I waited for about 15 minutes or so, and to my surprise, some music started playing. It is very hard to hear, but I think this is a song from the original Halo playing on the radio. To my further surprise, an achievement popped up on my screen. Now I think the intended way to get this achievement is listening to a radio on a multiplayer map, but I was chuffed to find out that this is another way you can do it. Once you reach the Covenant, there are usually 3 wraiths guarding the 3rd tower. But I noticed that if you rush to the 3rd tower without fighting any of the enemies, the wraith in the middle just drives off the cliff and dies.
Objective in sight, Commander.
I tried multiple times, and it was fairly consistent. The brute driver has had enough of speedrunners and just eats himself off the cliff.
Clear an LZ.
Poor
Then get
guy.
inside the tower.
Towards the end of the Covenant, our boy Arbiter gets his revenge on the Prophet of Truth. And if you watch closely, Truth's crown falls to the ground during the cutscene. But on closer inspection, we can see the crown is still firmly attached to his head. I hope you enjoyed this useless fact that will forever sit in your brain. A few years ago, I experienced a glitch with the Scarabs, and I think I've been able to repeat what happened. First, kill the chieftain, grab his invincibility, and the Gravhammer. Keep playing through the level until you reach the section with the Hornets. Board the Scarab, activate the invincibility, and if you hit this Scarab core just right with the hammer, you'll get launched across the map. I can only seem to get it to work from the left side of the Scarab core. And sometimes it can send you straight through the ground. But depending on which Scarab you hit, you can fly in many directions. When slowing the footage down, it appears the Scarab simply vanishes from the world. But after looking a bit closer, the Scarab briefly slingshots underground and then rebounds back up. It was a weird glitch, it was also a lot of fun to watch. Now we are all aware that the Gravemind slows us down and likes to yap about stuff. But did you know he is way more talkative than you might have thought? If you turn down the music volume and turn on the subtitles, you can hear a lot of comments from the Gravemind whenever there are flood around. Now sometimes the dialogue does not match the actual subtitles, but broadly speaking, he makes some general threats, or he talks about his love for coffins. But something else interesting is that he appears to react to what you do. For example, when running from a fight or trying to hide from the flood, he'd say something like this. Or once the flood found me again, he'd say something like, and I think he even congratulated himself when a carrier form killed me. Anyway, I never noticed any of this as a kid when I first played the game, so I was surprised by how much he actually talks to us throughout the level. Time to finish the facts. During the Guilty Spark fight, I was juggling some weapons on the catwalk when I noticed they were not falling off the edge. Upon closer inspection, it appears that there is an invisible ledge that you can stand on to the left of the catwalk. I also checked the other side, and the ledge was there as well. I have no idea why they included this ledge, but another useless fact has been added to your brain. And finally, for our last mildly interesting fact for the day. When you finally beat Guilty Spark, he usually says his death dialogue and then explodes. But did you know there is a longer death dialogue? If you turn off the music, kill Spark, go to the theatre, and then watch his death in slow motion, you get a much longer death sound. I thought that was pretty neat. Well, anyway, there you have it. I hope you found this video mildly interesting, and I hope to see you again in another video soon. God bless, have an awesome week.